from different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Hi,
I'm Beth.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jessica, and we're just your everyday
Methodist to the madness.
Welcome, Tim and Beth.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, both of you.
Hello.
How is all the things?
All the things are all.
Or how are all the things? Not how is. Actually, I was thinking about the phrase, who are you? Why is it who are you and not who is you?
Well,
I don't know.
that's a great question. We'll leave that to the listeners.
The odds are like it's going to be hard to get that answer from just like the random like Joe Schmo or something like that you ask.
Joe Schmo is our top listener as well.
Maybe Joe Schmo can email us and let us know.
Yeah,
From Belgium. Joe Schmo from Belgium.
That's right. Well, how's this past week been for you both? Anything super duper exciting?
So Beth, Jessica, I feel like we do this every time. I guess I'm speaking first, so I will go first. So I had a couple things that have been really interesting that have been happening. So the first is I went to the fair. And that was the AV fair. And so this is kind of interesting. I didn't end up planning on going to the fair specifically. The reason why I ended up going to the fair ultimately was my mom wanted to see this concert. Was Jefferson Starship and the Spasmatics. And granted, I've never heard like either one of these beforehand. I actually really enjoyed the Spasmatics, and I think the Jefferson Starship, I could probably use some more listens to cultivate more appreciation for it. But overall, it was a really interesting time, and it was a full featured concert. It was cool, but I was really amazed by the fair. I mean, I really enjoyed the Spasmatics too, and it was just a good concert experience. But the fair in general was so immersive; like it felt like an actual amusement park. Once I got into like the midst of the fair, like just seeing all the rides and stuff. And I had a coworker friend that I talked to. He was like, "You got to try the funnel cakes," and I'm like, "Oh, I've never tried a funnel cake before. I guess I'll go ahead and do that." And so I got a powdered sugar funnel cake, and it was kind of like a cross between a donut and a pancake, but it was like unique enough to where it kind of like was neither one of those things. It was really bizarre.
So first ever funnel cake?
That was my first ever funnel cake. I've never had a funnel cake before that.
What?
Yeah.
When I had my first funnel cake, I was like -5 years old.
Well, it could be that I just I've had forgotten funnel cakes, or something. I don't know.
Forget.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So maybe I did never have one then. If I would have never forgotten.
Have you ever had bacon?
Yes.
Okay.
Thankfully, yes, I've had bacon.
Good. Slices of bacon.
So then the next thing that happened for me was I saw The Wild Robot in the movie theater, and I loved it. It was such an amazing DreamWorks production. I think I could call that my favorite DreamWorks CGI movie that I've seen. Yeah. And I don't know, like the only other DreamWorks CGI movie I remember is Shrek, and I think Puss in Boots. But The Wild Robot just fits this like special niche where like you can't say that any other movie is quite like it. And it's just a really fantastic movie. It kind of starts out like you expect it to go one way, and then it completely like changes in such an elegant, like unfolding way. And it explores certain things like learning and consciousness and like love. And it's just a really touching show too. Like it was full on tearjerker for me. I teared up multiple times during the movie. So for anybody that likes DreamWorks CGI movies, that's probably one of the best ones that you could see. And definitely, if it's in the theater when you listen to this episode, I highly recommend seeing it in the theater. It was definitely like one of my favorite movies of the year. And so finally, I came to an interesting insight this weekend. So I would say like life changing. And it's interesting that I say insight because, well, I guess to start with, I had the question to myself. I'm like, I wonder if there's a way that I can like have the knowledge to fix all the problems in my life. Like, I just wanted that answer. Like, could I legitimately have that answer? Is it possible? And so like the next day I was like, okay, well, maybe I can actually get close to coming to that by following my intuition. And I remembered that I bought this book, Radical Intuition, and I started reading this book, and it's made a tremendously significant impact on my life, like so positive. And it's really just like a guide to being able to like focus on your intuition and listen to your intuition. And there's like a couple of key points regarding that. So the first is the author defines it differently than what you have in like Wikipedia or some other source, and says basically it's an illuminating insight that arrives through feeling, idea, knowingness, or experience that is simply received. So you basically receive insight from these things that are not associated with conscious reasoning, but are ultimately extremely valuable. And basically, she argues that if you focus on your intuition, life is it just ends up easier, and like you're able to like come to conclusions more easily and so forth. And she also says that intuition negates fear. And so anyway, I've been practicing these ideas, and I've just found that I've been a lot like less stressed out and like much more at peace. And I'm kind of looking at social situations in a more positive way. And so it's just been so like incredible. It kind of reminds me of how like incredible it was to like try to cultivate a better prayer relationship like last week. So yeah, it's just been really cool. But yeah, that's what I have for my update.
Nice, Beth.
Thank you.
That's me. I'm Beth. Well, I guess I'd say that the biggest update in my house right now is that Friday, Craig started trying to get our old Ford Fusion to run. I got a new car last May, but then we kept my old car because we were going to save that for Owen for when he could drive. And then I got another new car in December, which doesn't matter, but because I wrecked the first one. But anyway, so
One's always better.
Yeah, indeed.
So anyway, we've basically been letting the Ford Fusion just sit there for a year and a half, and we have done no maintenance to it. So apparently gas goes bad if it sits in the tank for like more than 2, 3, or 4 months, I think. And
wait, what?
Yeah, and apparently there was a full tank of gas in there like the last time anyone drove it. And so it didn't run. The battery died. There were just so many problems with it. Anyway, I told Owen in August, probably mid-August, I was like, okay, we're going to get this up and running for you by September. And then like a couple weeks ago in September, Owen was like, Mom, I was like, you notice that it's September, huh? And your car's not done. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk to Dad about that. So we got everything, to go in the couple $1,000s later. Owen has a running car. And yesterday I spent 4 hours cleaning out all of my stuff from the car. And I like to put stickers on my cars, and Owen doesn't share the same views as I do on stickers. So I lovingly and painstakingly scraped off all of the stickers. And this morning, he drove to school by himself. And Jonah doesn't have any classes on Mondays. So I didn't leave the house until 5:43 when I went to the back to school night for the preschool. So that was weird. I also napped all day today because apparently I needed it. I was like, why did I nap so much? But then I realized that I did a lot over the weekend. Like Friday, I started the horrible task of trying to clean out our garage. It's really bad right now, but I got some of that done. Saturday, I went to my improv. My show is coming up, you guys, and I'm really nervous about it.
You have to tell us all about it so we can go, Beth.
I'm going to tell you right now. My friend that I'm doing the improv with is dropping out because she got a job offer that she can't refuse right now, and training is going to be over the next couple weekends. And I'm like,
wait, did she get picked up for SNL before you? Because they just
she did. I'm so mad. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So she's not even gonna hold my hand, but I think I'm still gonna do the show because I didn't this far just to not do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll never do it again. Anyway, let me check. I'll have to give you I don't know the address right now, but I do know the show is gonna be October 15th, which is a Tuesday. And it's from 6 to 7 p.m., I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's all I have. I'm so tired from life and just trying to exist. But
gotcha.
I can totally relate.
I'm doing the stuff, so
that's good.
That matters.
Very nice. Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Well, thanks, Beth.
Yeah.
What do you have, Jessica? Do you have something?
Yeah, I've got some
good,
crazy
all the
stuff.
things.
Crazy stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Let me lay it down for you. So, not really, but
I thought you were gonna. I thought you said I'm laying down.
I'm gonna lay down now. This past week went by so fast. We were supposed to have dinner last Friday, but Amber wasn't feeling too well, and I forced her to go to urgent care so she can get some meds.
Ooh.
And so she got some meds, and so I thought, maybe on Saturday, like I'll treat her. So we went and got some pedicures together and lunch, and then we just came back home and did absolutely nothing, and just kind of let her rest. And then on Sunday, we were like, we're not going to church. We're going to Disneyland. So, no, we had planned a couple months ago that we were going to go to Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
We're pass holders, and so we like to book ahead of time. And so, we have to. But anyways, so we missed church again. But we watched the sermon online. Anyways, I messaged Pastor Jim while we were there, and I took a random photo with like not even a hint of where we were. And I was like, where are we? And he's like, Soren. And I was like, how does he know? I mean, maybe it was the airplanes in the background that was a clear giveaway. But anyways, so, and then he was like, you're going to love children's time. And which, yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So if you didn't watch the sermon during the children's time, it was the Tiki Room, which was really cool. The Tiki. Anyways, which is in Disneyland. So yeah, we went to Disneyland on Sunday. We didn't stay for very long because Amber was still not 100%. And well, guess what? I am pregnant, so I don't last long anywhere. So, yeah, we left, went back home, and I think we went to bed pretty early. But that's kind of like the basic overview of how things have been going, what we've been up to. This week, we're going to see Casey Musgraves on Thursday. So,
wow,
that's going to be exciting.
that's awesome.
Free tickets through an organization called VetTix, Pure Veteran.
3 tickets?
Free.
Wow.
Free tickets. Well, I got 4 free tickets to go, and some friends of ours are going to be joining us.
Oh, that's good.
Their names are John and Cordy.
What?
Whoa, that's awesome.
Well, it was funny because the last time we saw them, John was like, we should go to a show together. And then I got 4 free tickets. I was like,
that's amazing.
And
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. So because on Thursday we have another appointment with the doctor. It's our 1-month checkup after the last one. So I'm currently in my 2nd trimester. So I have a checkup on Thursday at like 4:00. So we're already like halfway down by the forum. So we were gonna,
yeah,
it works out.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of stuff, but just trying to get as much stuff in before we're stuck for a year. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just a year.
Before we can't escape our own home.
Yeah, make the best of it while you can. My gosh.
Yeah. Like, as long as we're by the restrooms, I don't care. I'm at that point where I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom again. I'm just going to the bathroom.
I feel like that sometimes I have to go to the bathroom at some point, and I'm not even pregnant, so I understand. Jessica.
I never have to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
that's how I was. I was that person where I was like the perfect road trip buddy because I didn't have to ever go to the bathroom. Now I'm out. Like, we just left a rest stop. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Well, let's head in to things that are happening around the church.
Right. Speaking of going to the bathroom, that's totally unrelated.
Places, let me tell you where you can go.
Very nice. Excellent, indeed.
Our church now has restrooms that you can use.
They are public restrooms if the doors are open.
There's a grand opening of the restrooms.
Yep.
Restrooms have just been refurbished. They were cleaned approximately 2 days ago.
Oh, excellent. Yes, that is refurbished. Awesome. Yeah. Who needs a refurbished electronics when you can have a refurbished restroom in our favorite home church? Excellent.
Totally. So, upcoming things. This Saturday, we've got the quilters are meeting from 9 to 12 p.m. Heyo. Same with the group is meeting. So that's the They might be wanting to be referred to as the sounds kind of like a motorcycle. Because you think of Methodist men, you think of men on motorcycles.
Right, indeed.
But UMM stands for is United Methodist Motorcycles.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. And then on Sunday, this coming Sunday, on the 6th, young adults are meeting over at Amber in my house at 1:00. We're doing a part 2 of the 7,000 part series of the New Testament. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
If you weren't able to make it to the first one, that's okay. You can still jump on in anytime. It's a blast. Great conversations. And then on Sunday, October 13th is Lunch Church. And then Sunday, 10/27, It is trunk or treat from 325. That kind of sounds deceiving. 325. So if you're not sure what you are going to be dressing up as for trunk or treat, start thinking about those things. Start getting those decorations going. And then on Friday and Saturday for November 1st and 2nd, it's the men's retreat. I did want to ask, Beth, do you know, because I know last year for trunk or treat, you pay, right, to have a spot? Isn't that?
No, that was just for the boutique. And we won't be doing that at the same time.
Right.
Oh.
This year or
Great.
next year, probably. So
Okay.
no, it's free, but we are accepting candy donations right now.
Yeah, candy donation.
Oh my gosh.
Decided that today is the first day we're accepting them.
So feel free. You can send them at methodisttothemadness@gmail.com. Send your,
Wait, we can send candy electronically? Whoa!
Yeah.
if you can do that, like Willy Wonka, then hey,
I just licked my phone.
yum, yum, yum.
Yum. There must have been candy on there, yes?
Raspberries taste like schnozberries.
Ooh, I got some raspberries.
Unless you have a BlackBerry phone. I used to as well. That was a cool thing.
Yeah, they had those cool keyboards.
Yeah. Now it's just one little screen. You have to trust your little thumbs are navigating correctly.
Mine never are.
Well, those are the updates for the church. We're heading into Beth's minister moment where she's going to share some information in about 12 seconds.
Well, 12?
I just made that up. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Share some information.
I was going to wait 12 seconds.
Ooh.
As far as the ministry moment, I don't really have one, but I did receive an email from Don just a couple days ago.
All right.
And it was for a merch idea, and I'm going to show you guys the picture. Do you see it?
Yes.
That's a covered wagon, and there's our, oh, don't look at those. Those have incriminating information.
I was going to say I couldn't see the words in the picture, so I couldn't see any other words either.
Okay, so there's our logo, Methodist to the Madness, and that says Bethany Prairie Quest.
That's hilarious.
If you say it fast, it's Bethany Prairie Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
those shirts,
I would really sincerely like to make this happen and start selling these because
if you can do that, if you can do that, I'll buy one.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy one too.
That's you want awesome. A coffee mug? How do you want it?
I would like it, and I'll buy the sweatshirt and give it to you to do whatever magic you can do on it.
Okay, great. Yes, that would be
amazing.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So for anybody that wants special merch, then please email our lovely Gmail account.
Methodist to the Madness @gmail. And it's encouraged that if you're wanting a clothing item or some other item to just purchase it on your own and then maybe connect with Beth. That would probably be the easiest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Excellent.
I would do.
Because she has the most amazing tooling in the whole century, basically.
Yeah. Beth's a tool.
That's the tool.
No.
My high school days all over again. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Well, speaking of tools, let's dive into the sermon for this past Sunday.
Yes.
The tool that we all have been privileged and gifted with, well, most of us, which is faith and grace and amazing.
So in my improv class, we're trying to work on part of it is not leaving the other person hanging if if they can't think of something. And I was totally trying to save you, but I failed. I just let you sit there for 10 minutes and being like, and
your teacher called me and said, I want you to set yourself up because I'm
wow. That is like the
I was like,
that's
this
like the perfect
weird, but okay.
Right. That's like the perfect paradoxical situation. It's like we're really good at rescuing each other from aimlessness in our thoughts and what we're expressing. But the one time that somebody says, this is what you're supposed to do, and we've been doing it the whole time, you can't do it. It's not happening. It's kind of like taking a test or something, like a math test. Suddenly they expect that you to do the math problems in a test-oriented fashion. That's not fair. So same thing, filling in each other's thoughts. You're being tested now. That's not going to happen.
That's what's happening. Yep. Can I share with you one of my favorite song lyrics ever?
Absolutely.
And it's not from Jason Mraz.
Oh, I was hoping it was from Jason Mraz.
It's not from Jason Mraz.
Is it from Tool?
No, it's not. But good guess. Have you heard of Flight of the Conchords? They had a television show. They're a two-man novelty band from New Zealand who tried to make it in New York. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. It still holds up. It's on Max. All of you should watch it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Not all of you. Some of you. Just use your discretion. It's so funny to me. Anyway, so there's a song, they have a rap song and they have rap names. One of them is the Rhinoceros and the other one is the Hip Hopopotamus.
Yes.
So says, cool.
They call me the Hip Hopopotamus. My lyrics are bottomless. And then you look at him and he's trying to think of the next line and and that's my favorite song lyric.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
It tickles me.
That's amazing.
Yes, I am tickled. Very nice.
Someone else was tickled, and it was...
In the eyes?
In the eyes. They were tickled in the eyes by Clay, and not Clay the person, but, like mud.
Yeah.
But Pastor Jim, this past Sunday, went through John chapter 9, verses 1 through 41, and more of a narration type sermon. And it was from the perspective of the blind person in the story. And I thought it was incredibly special. And the goal was, he said when the sermon was done to jot down 3 to 5 new insights that you receive. And, I can definitely say that there were a couple things that kind of stood out for me in this story. And one was, when I think the Pharisees were like investigating, and then his parents were like, they didn't really care. It was, I don't know, it was like the weirdest thing where I'm thinking, can you imagine like being blind and you're like genuinely shook and you're like, literally thought I had mud in my eyes. This man spit. He didn't spit on me and he told me to wash it off. Well, of course I'm going to wash mud out of my eyes. And, clears it and then is able to start seeing images and objects and things. And I think I was just surprised on people's responses to that being possible, and the miracle of once being blind, now being able to see, all because of the Son of Man, like all because of Jesus. And I think it's very, it speaks in any age, I want to say, because
for sure.
God has done so many incredible things in my life where if I told somebody, they would be like, this girl crazy, they would want to investigate what I'm saying. Like, well, how do you know? Like, what do you? And so it's kind of like this similar thing, like, and I don't know. I think I also thought about, would I have also investigated that instance of like, wait a minute, like, how did this happen? And I'll be honest, I think I would have been a little bit like, what? Where I would be like, nowadays I've experienced God in my life, and I've been able to see those miracles happen in my life and in other lives. But to see it firsthand, no pun intended, would I have believed that was possible? Because
Right.
people were talking about it. It was more of like they were waiting, for the Son of Man. And so it's interesting. That's kind of like my takeaways from this past Sunday. What about you guys? Well, don't speak at once. My oh my.
I was seeing what would happen. No.
Were you singing or were you speaking?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I lost my sight for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what happened. Indeed.
I just said
double vision.
I think it was I don't know what I was thinking was that was in regards to that silence there. I was thinking, well, I wanted Beth to go first if she wanted to go first, but I just legitimately didn't say anything. And I'm not sure why she didn't say anything.
I was like, this is when Tim usually says who is juice, and I'll just wait for Tim.
Oh, that's so funny. So, yeah, if you want, you can go first, Beth. I was curious if you wanted to go first.
No,
because
you may go first, Tim.
Okay, sounds good. So, I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, kind of going off of what you were saying, Jessica, because I thought that was interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that. So basically, that's kind of where I find my faith sometimes. Like there's certain things that people might say about the Christian faith, like regarding like this reason or this historical evidence or this or that sort of like way in which they believe. And at the end of the day, I think it all kind of, at least regarding my faith, it all comes down to like trusting in Jesus and then like trying to come up with that understanding for ourselves after we trust in Jesus and put our faith in Jesus. I think that's what really created like a really powerful, like life transformational thing. And I was able to see the truth after I trusted in him. So that like, so in that sense, like you have the Pharisees, they kind of trusted in God their own way before Jesus, and they had different like expectations about who the Son of Man was going to be or who the Messiah was going to be, and it contradicted what they thought the Messiah or that they thought the Messiah was going to be. But that's kind of where we have to use our critical thinking and realize that they were presented with something that was so powerful and so hard to explain that maybe that's when they should have kind of opened themselves up to Jesus, like Jesus asking for people to follow him. So it's kind of a very interesting, like thought-provoking situation that like that blind person dealt with in regards to the Pharisees. So that's interesting. But the other thing is, I was thinking about how Jesus really does make it so we can see more clearly, or like we're blind and now we can see in regards to like every aspect of our lives, at least from like for sure a self-improvement aspect, but just everything like our loving other people and like just making the world a better place. It all kind of like comes into a full context when you follow Jesus and when you accept Jesus. So like Jesus really changes everything. I can speak that from personal experience. Like before I had faith, I was a much less happy person. And like probably a more confused person, and just really did not have like the zest for life that I do now. Like through following Jesus, I've been able to like bring that forth. So that whole idea of like being born again through Christ, I think is really like profound and true. So this story that like Pastor Jim gave, like this retelling, really kind of brought that all like to fruition in my mind, like more so than like in the past. So yeah, I'm really grateful that Pastor Jim like retold this narrative like that, because it really kind of brought that. Especially like in light of the fact that I've been like reading fiction books more and stuff like that. When you get that first person perspective on something, it really puts you into like a different frame of mind in viewing a story. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Beth?
Pass. No, I'm just kidding. So what kind of got me thinking about this whole sermon was like, yes, this happened, and yes, it was Jesus who healed him, but of course people are going to have questions and be skeptical. And I feel like I would be one of those people too. And but what I've been kind of learning about myself lately is that like I used to get really upset if somebody like misunderstood me or like didn't believe me when I told them something, and like, or I used to really like care about what people think about me, and I was always like, oh well, they're probably thinking that I'm blah blah blah. But what I'm realizing lately is like it doesn't matter what other people think as long as like I know what's true. Like if they don't believe my truth, then that's on them. It's not on me. And
right.
That for me just has like taken a lot of stress out of my life, I guess. And especially because sometimes it's the people who might have been your best friend for 8 years and then they don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever anybody feels about me, as long as I'm showing up and being my own authentic self, if their image of me is different than that, then that's not my problem. And that is something that I've struggled with like for a long time. I used to be afraid to post like on Facebook and stuff like the Christian side of me because I didn't want to offend the non-Christians, or, you know, I didn't want to post the liberal side of me because I didn't want to offend the Christians.
Yeah.
So I guess, and sometimes I like to say the Christians as if I'm not one of them, but
Right.
I am. So I guess my biggest.
Unfortunately.
I know.
Yeah, just ask the Pharisees, very unfortunate.
Yeah. So I guess like my biggest takeaway from this whole thing was like, even if people don't believe you or they don't believe that this is what God did in our lives, it doesn't matter, because as long as like we're believing what we believe in, people can see us as whatever. And as long as you're true to yourself, it doesn't matter what people think about you. True to yourself and to others.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really a validating thing for you to say, Beth. Like just kind of speaking from my personal experience. Yeah, like I think that we have a tendency to undercut our own ideas, experiences, like attitudes and so forth if we don't get approval from other people. And I definitely have that problem. And it's been a really big work in progress for me not to worry about that. So I'm really glad that you said that. And like at the end of the day, our relationship with Jesus and God and everything like that is something that's unique to us and individual and really powerful. And we should like take pride in that and feel like a sense of like individuality, like it's really important, so that's awesome.
I thought that I was being respectful and like coming from a place of like, all right, I'm not gonna, basically I was making myself smaller to let other people have a place in the world instead of just saying the thing I actually thought in the first place. And so I've been trying to share more, and if that drives people away, those aren't my people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think something else in terms of like the spiritual blindness that's referenced in the book of John, I think remembering that, and this is just something that I think not everybody in life is able to experience this. But in terms of like, you know, I feel like I am fortunate enough to know that I have been in situations where my eyes have been opened to new cultures, new environments, new people, new cities, new food, things like that, where I feel as though I'm like spiritually awakened to a level of, appreciation where I come from, and an expansion of my faith because of that. Because, out of high school, I did a mission trip to Panama. We went to a little village and everybody bathed in the river and walk up a muddy hill when you're done showering. And the power would shut off at 10. It was so humid and hot. And if it rained, it was like a monsoon. And the river was also where you would clean out animals and stuff like that. So it was wow. Anyway, and for me, had I not experienced that at 19 years old, which was just a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have realized that I'm fortunate to have more than one pair of shoes. I'm fortunate that I have my lights on right now and it's dark outside. And I'm fortunate that I have air conditioning. I'm fortunate to have blankets when I'm cold and nice shoes to wear outside. And a roof over my head that when it rains, there's not going to be, leaks. Well, for the most part, I'll knock on wood. And so, there's things like that where we are spiritually awoken, basically. Like we get woken up into this where we realize, wow, man, my life is completely different. And then you go back home and it's so easy to turn water on,
Yeah.
So easy to just use a microwave to heat up your food, where
for sure
many people don't get to experience that. And that doesn't mean that they're blind to the world. It means that their level of being alive in Christ and their level of being just seeing, is such a deeper way of being able to understand God, potentially. Because that's one thing that I noticed is that their faith was so strong. And wow. And I feel like with us, we're so blinded by so many things that are around us that we forget to see what is most important. And so I think that that's one thing to remember, is continuously challenging ourselves to be spiritually woken up,
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's spread the woke agenda. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I think that that's really important. And if you feel like you haven't been in a situation where you've really been able to be uncomfortable and away from your own environment to really see life in a different way, I pray that whoever's listening who feels like that needs to be them, that you will make steps to make that happen. And because it is a beautiful thing to experience.
Wow.
And I feel like there's so many different ways that we can connect with God, but Jesus never stayed in one place when he wanted to share the gospel with others.
Yeah.
And in the 3 years that he did this or whatever, you think about like how far he went. And I think about the miles and
Yeah.
how many miles have we traveled to find Jesus in other communities, to meet people. 5. Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's just something to kind of think about. And I think that's why I love traveling and adventures so much, is because I like to find little parts of Jesus everywhere, in nature, in different, communities, learning about other people's stories. And I think that that's incredibly valuable, because Jesus would never want us to stay in our own, 15-mile perimeter for our entire lives. He would never want that for us.
Right.
So anyways, that's my 2 cents. That's my woke agenda.
No, that's awesome, Jessica. I do think that Jesus was never really just like sitting in one place for any length of time. He was going out and like preaching. He was healing. He was doing anything that we would probably consider like uncomfortable, like just basically giving himself for others in every which way that a person like ever could. So like striving to be more like Jesus is putting ourselves in those uncomfortable situations and like seeing really what it's like to like not have anything. I mean, the one thing is that Jesus says to sell all of our possessions. I mean, that's kind of what you would experience in another culture that's not developed. You don't have any of this technological stuff that we have in the developed countries, like in those countries, and they maybe find like that they're spiritually awakened in other ways that we're not. So we have we're blind to certain things because of how our lives are. So I think to really like uplift our spirits, we do want to like, spread the word of Jesus, but also just like put ourselves in as many situations as we can. And I think that's wonderful. And like, I guess a good example for me is like when I lose my power in my home, like suddenly I'm just like realizing that I'm so dependent upon technology. And then just the other day, I was thinking about how many times do I actually pick up my phone and check it to see if I got messages or emails, or like check and look at something on the internet or something like that. I really like contemplated that question. And now that you talked about this, Jessica, I think I'm going to try to like actually take some sense of accountability for that, because I think that's something that can really give us peace of mind if we're aware of those types of things, like generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is like, I like how you were talking about spiritual blindness, because I kind of didn't put those two things together. It's really evident from what Pastor Jim was talking about. But when I did not believe in Christ and I was a non-believer, I was pretty much spiritually blind. Like, and I think for me to like think about that like carefully and how I am now, I think would be a really like powerful experience. Like, how am I now versus how I was then? Kind of like how the blind person in the narrative that Pastor Jim brought up, like how was he before he was blind, and look at how he was now. Like essentially, like he was legitimately blind. Like the darkness was all that he knew in terms of his vision, but then suddenly he could see, and then later he closed his eyes and it was comfortable, but it was not the same as when he was completely blind. And that kind of reminds me of how when we find ourselves running astray from Christ, kind of like the prodigal son, like kind of like running away from the Father and doing this or that. When we do that and then we come back to Christ, it's like such an uplifting, amazing experience. But we could just imagine how it was when we first found Christ. So it's totally different. I mean, it's so powerful when we do come back to the Father. We come back to Jesus after running astray. But it's so yeah. That's all these things associated with like spiritual blindness and like spiritual seeing, and then uplifting our spirits through these experiences that we can have in life, I think is really powerful. So yeah, and I guess like speaking from like personal experience, I don't think I would like recognize how like powerful intuition is if I had not found Christ and like uplifted my spirit, because I think that is like a spiritual thing ultimately, being able to like trust in ourselves. And I think being able to trust in ourselves, it kind of all starts with like, I guess, like speaking as a Christian, trusting in Jesus. Like we actually have a more like loving like attitude towards ourselves when we love Jesus. So
I love it. I love it. I love it.
that's awesome. Such a great discussion. Awesome.
Yeah.
It was. It definitely was.
We just heard the award music. No, not the award music. No,
Yeah, it was an award. We all get an award.
Not wasn't. I give the award to Jesus.
Yes. Woo! Well, let's head into some prayer requests really quick. That way we can sound off the evening, folks.
We can jump on the boat that Jesus is on in our
We got
lives.
some fish to fry, y'all.
Yeah. I was before we started recording. I was like, "Are we officially recording?" And I put emphasis on the word fish, and then I'm like, "Official fish." I don't know. Oh my gosh. So, what do we have?
Then what's your prayer request?
Okay. I'm not going to do the silence thing where we're wondering who's going to speak. I will speak. So my prayer is to continue cultivating a better prayer relationship with God. I think that's really been something that I've been able to do. And it definitely all started with the prayer vigil and all the great discussions we've had about like prayer. So yeah, continuous prayers for me to just cultivate that closer relationship with God through prayer. And then also for me to just continue on this path of like following my intuition. I think that's really helping me so much. And one of the things I wanted to share, I forgot to share in my check-in, is the other thing that I learned from that book is that author brought up an interesting idea that is, it's so important to live mindfully, but she says that the next step to living mindfully is to try to live insightfully. And you can do that by trying to trust your intuition more. So like just kind of be in that space without your thoughts necessarily, kind of focusing on the moment. But then like what kind of insights come to you, whether it's like from God or whether it's from like yourself, kind of like not really thinking so much about things, but just being in that peace. Like how can that bring insight into your life? So yeah, I guess a prayer for me to just sort of like try to like courageously practice whatever insight comes to me, and not like be afraid to, yeah, that's basically it. So
Voice. Beth.
Done. Let's see. Last week I prayed for productivity and I think it did help.
Woo!
I'm still not sure if this new medication is working, because some days I am really productive, and then other days, like today, I'll take my medication and then nap all day.
Yeah.
But also, I chalk that up to probably doing too much the days previously. So
right.
Anyway,
Oh, for sure.
I have a lot on my plate right now. Just prayers that I can remember to feed all areas of myself, which is the spiritual, mental, physical, and probably another one that I'm forgetting.
Emotional.
Yep, that's the one.
Yay.
That's the one I struggle with. Yeah, so that's it. Just
Okay.
Okay, definitely, Beth.
pray for peace. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jessica?
Well, I think I would like continued prayers for the pregnancy, and
We're still praying for that?
we got a few more months to go.
Okay.
Yeah, just
All right.
there you go. It's continuous prayers for
Okay, sorry.
that's wonderful. No, that's good.
I see
not
you for
gonna
a
end.
second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It unlike chickens, which are only 30 days for a whole pregnancy. I got a good
Nice.
full 9 months for this thing, which
That's
Wow.
long.
in my second trimester, things are definitely popping, and I mean buttons. And
Oh, cool.
so officially out of my old pants and into the new pants that stretch. Don't know why I never had these normally, because I recommend these for everybody. Literally just go look at maternity pants and you'll just want to wear those all of the time.
Thanksgiving.
Are they like extra special, like pajamas or sweatpants or something? Like
There's
you could just rock and roll with them, or
you can rock and roll any day, Tim. It's these things are like the way that they sit on your body allows for your stomach to just kind of be out, but then it also has like stretchy elastic built into the jean. And so you're like free to just let it all out.
That is so cool. It's like jeans, but they're like elastic and they're like super comfortable.
No restriction.
Like
whoa.
jeggings, but
oh my gosh.
Why does anybody even wear regular jeans with like belts and stuff when you could just wear those types of pants?
I don't. I live in dresses, leggings, jeggings, anything else that ends in eggings.
Eggs?
Wait. Eggs.
No, that's not eggings. That's eggs.
That's Halloween night when I'm doing my prank. Just kidding.
Or it's Jessica's and Amber's farm with the eggs.
It's literally like, I'm a big fan, and it's the shirts. The shirts are just going to become tighter, and that's just going to be how it is. So I'm not trading those out. It's just going to be how it will be.
That's good.
Yeah, prayers for that. We do have an appointment this coming Thursday. Just a normal check-in. Every month we're checking in until we get we approach closer to the due date. Then obviously we have more appointments in a shorter amount of time. But I do want to really quick, I want to say and share my I want to pray for my brother, because my brother, he lives in Colorado and he lives off of Aspen Mountain, and it's about a mile from the bottom of the mountain up just to get to his cabin. And so he usually has to in the winter he has to snowmobile up, but it's a trek. So the road that he takes to get up there is very windy. And anyway, he was driving back home and a deer ran out, and to avoid it, he swerved and the tire went off of the road, and it was like a little bit of a 10-inch drop into some boulders. Well, the airbags deployed and no service.
Oh no.
So anyways, long story short, he's safe, he's fine. Had he gone the other direction with the swerve, he would have been off of the mountain. So very glad that he is safe, but
Wow.
I can tell he's a little bit rattled up. And after my phone conversation with him today, I felt like I left him in a pretty good space, just encouraging him to do his breath work and meditation and stuff to release the negativity. And but he's my older brother and I love him. And he didn't have his phone for like 3 days. So of course I left like 2 voicemails and was messaging him. And anyway, I'm glad he's safe. And now he's just recovering from the airbags because those things are like rocket launcher parachutes to your face. So
I don't even know if airbag is like the right word for it. Maybe it is like a rocket launcher.
they're like Mike
Something.
Tyson bags that come at you when you crash. You know,
Mike Tyson bags. Yeah.
I mean,
Whoa.
the good thing is he was only going like, I think by the time the airbags deployed, he was going maybe 15 miles an hour. But if you go 15 to 0 instantaneously, that's a pretty good jolt.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, that would definitely concern me. I would probably, yeah. So definitely, Jessica, prayers for your brother. Wow.
yeah. But again, he's safe. He's good. He's at home.
That's good.
All that stuff. So
That's
that's
important.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because we need Uncle Kyle down the road.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, that's it from my end. I loved our conversation today. I feel like our eyes were open.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I loved it too. It was awesome. Very
But,
nice.
Until next time, Beth, we're
Stay mad, you Methodist.
From different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness.